Tel Beersheba, not very far from the modern day city of Beersheba. And this, my friends, might really be the very well that Abraham made a bargain for. That's where Beersheba gets its name. This might be the one. Some scholars honestly believe that. We have no way of knowing, but I'll tell you what we do know. Water is very important in this community. Whether you're at the modern city of Beersheba, where you can see all kinds of modern day water working apparatus that you would expect from any city utility, or you come here and you see what archaeologists have dug up. Obviously, water is important. That's why Abraham made the deal over the well. It was a very, very big deal because water here in the desert is a difference between life and death. Now, Beersheba again sits on the very southern edge of the heartland. From here down south, you're going to get desert. I mean, really desolate desert. So this is one of the fortified cities from King Solomon and King Hezekiah that protected the heartland of Judah and, of course, eventually protected Jerusalem. So it became a very, very important city. And they had figured out how to beat the water problem because they're very near one of the major water sources where in the winter when it rains over in Hebron, the water will rush down here and it'll follow the aqueduct system. And eventually they've got this huge reservoir that the archaeologists have dug. I mean, it just goes down, 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 down. I mean, it just keeps going down, and that's where the water was. And they would have water for all year long. So they figured out how to stay alive physically here in Tel Beersheba. But there was a problem. There was a problem in Beersheba. It was a spiritual problem. And if you've ever read the book of Amos, there are a couple of things that I'm going to just show you. In chapter 8, right at the end of it, Amos says that God is angry at all of Israel, from Dan far in the north, where they had, oh my gosh, the pagan gods and the worship that were worshipped. They were just, it's legendary how bad it was. And he says all the way down to the gods of Beersheba. He makes specific reference to this city. But if you go to the very first verse of Amos, you'll find that it says, these are the words of Amos the prophet during the time of King Hezekiah, 2 years before the earthquake. Big deal? That earthquake was a big deal here, my friend. Obviously, earthquakes knock down buildings, and it's very difficult to make a living. It's very difficult to live in a place where they've had the earthquake. But that earthquake destroyed the water system that kept people here, and they could no longer live here. God's judgment came upon this place because they forgot about God. Here in God's land, God's people forgot about God, and judgment came. I don't think I have to draw a line from that ancient history to our modern times. You can figure out the rest, what happens if a people forget the God who gives them life, who gives them, physically water, but also gives us spiritual water. Jesus spoke of living water. Let's not forget the God who gives us that life. Maybe the ruins of Beersheba will be a reminder today that we have to pay attention not only to what it takes to stay alive physically, economically, socially, all of those things, but you better pay attention to your spiritual life too. Well, that's the lesson from Beersheba. I hope you're enjoying our walk around Israel. We'll see you down the road at our next stop. I'm Andy Cook, helping you experience Israel right now.